Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to make using paper napkins on polymer clay. Now I've tried a couple different ways and I've decided I like it when I can get the image, but I mean, that's the trick. Everybody likes to show how you can transfer the image. And my very first pair I did a while back were these. And as you can see, when I did it the way most people talk about, and that is, you know, you bake the paper on there, and I'm going to show you those steps, and then you wash away, and then I sealed it with resin on top, UV resin. That way, the image was always very light for me, and that could be the quality of the print on the napkin. But what I'm going to show you today, though, is how to make something like this. Now, these are not perfect. I have flaws in them, but I left the paper on and just sealed it with a high gloss resin, thin coat, and I like the way it looks. I'm going to keep these for myself because they're not worthy of selling, but they're close. And they had some errors, but we're gonna go with that, and we're gonna try to make those again, but without all the errors. And then I made these too. And I like how these came out too with the different napkin. And then I used these wood posts that I had bought off of Timo, actually. So there you go. We're gonna take a look. I have so many pretty napkins. And I'm going to show you how I did this. Now you can still work with removing the paper, and we'll go through a couple different things. So I found these napkins. These were from Timo, and I'm trying to get this in the screen. And these. Now I really liked these because of the gold in them. But as you can see, this is what I used to make these. And they're not gold. They're green, like an army green or olive green. And what happened was some of the ink that made this gold seeps out. And so it doesn't come across as gold when you transfer it. It's a pretty napkin if you're going to use that for an event or something, but I wanted it for the design on it. I thought it was really cool, and I still will use those. This had the same kind of effect, but it still came across black. I have not finished those, so we're going to maybe try something today with those. And then these napkins here, I think these were from Dollar General. I don't know how they're going to come out. Then I have, I think, some more. These were the flowers I just showed you. These were Dollar General for $1. That was a great deal. And that's what I used to make these. So I thought that was cute. I like how these complement each other, so we might try to do something with that. Then put those over here. So you can get napkins anywhere. I just look for ones that have like patterns to them. This opens up and it goes all the way around, I believe, and that's what I used to make this pair right here, which just came off the card. Those right here. And that was going to be here, and this was one of the butterflies on the other side. But you can see it's much darker here, and it came out really good before I washed away the paper. So I'm not going to wash away the paper. I don't like that. I try to get all the fibers out, and then I seal it. And then look at this. This is really cute. I wanted to give those a try. I'm interested to see if this is going to come across. I think I got these where? Probably at... Oh, Walmart, it says Walmart, and I don't know. They were a little bit like $1.98, I think, but I like the gold foiling in there. These were Dollar Tree. These are Dollar Tree too, and these are Dollar Tree. So they have their new summer packs out. But I love the flamingo. I like all these colors together. Different ways to put those together and interchange them. So we're going to get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decide on your napkin, okay? So I think since I haven't used this one yet, let's see. Let's try this one. This is from an old pack that I had, I think from last year. So I have both of these here. I think they have this one this year. This is from last year, I think, from Dollar Tree. But first thing you want to do is open up your napkin. Now some napkins are 3-ply, and you may not even realize that it's 3-ply, But when you start to work on it, you're going to figure it out immediately because you're going to get wrinkles. So you'll just want to go back and remove that third ply if they have it. And what you're trying to do is just remove the layer that doesn't have the print. And I have some hangnails, so I just cover those up because they look nasty. But on my nails, because I've been growing out my nails, not using nail tips, and trying to get back to the natural look. Okay, so anyway, you want to separate your napkins, and don't worry about this texture on some of them at the edge, because that gets you can push that out when you layer it. So use all the napkin that you want to use, and so you just separate this gently. It doesn't take too much, and then you can use this for cleanup as you need it. So I have a stack of that over there. Now, there's different rules of thought. Some people use, they'll cut out their forms first and then put the paper on. I'm not sure if that's going to be easier. I've tried different ways, and I'm not going to lie, this technique is not the easiest, okay? It's not. So first thing I want to do is get my paper that I want, okay? And to conserve paper and use what I want, I'm going to not take off the middle there. Now, I really like the flamingo and the flowers, and so that flamingo is going to, I probably want to get another one because I want to make them identical on each side. So I'm going to cut this, and I just rolled this out. It's just white Sculpey 3. I know not a lot of people care for that, but you want to cut this larger than your stamp that you're going to use, or your cutter. So I have a bunch of different cutter shapes here. Like, these are very typical. They come in a great big set with all different sizes and shapes. And I have these here, and then I have these little squares here. And this is what I used, these two right here, I used for this textured kind of embossed one, okay? This is not as easy to use, but it can be done. Okay, so I'm gonna get another, maybe I just put flamingo on one side. I wanna get two. So you wanna make sure your paper is going to be large enough. I think I'll cut this other flamingo out right here. You just wanna cut it larger than your cutter, that's all. And now, the way we're going to put this on is, well, let me get to this part. Okay, let me do this. I wonder if I can fit two on there. Probably not. I'll probably only be able to fit two here. Oh, did they have flamingos going the different directions? They do. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. Because when I do earrings, I like to have mirrored image earrings. So let's do that. Let's get another one. And I don't know how big these are going to come out. If I'm going to get just the bird and not the wings, if I can try to get the bird in there, that would be super cute. I wonder if this one would do more. Not really. Maybe this one. This has a set, and they're all steps. And yeah, I think I'm going to do that sized one. Okay, so I want a mirrored image. I don't need to worry about the feet because the feet are going to get chopped off. So we're going to go this way. Okay. Okay, I've cut up enough pieces of paper. Put that over there. Now, I'm going to lay this. You're going to do it face down. So look at your paper, figure out which one was the brighter side. Oh, that was facing down. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. Okay, that one was facing down. But it looks like I did have mirrored ones here. Maybe they don't make... Nope, they're all... Okay, so much for conserving this paper because it's not going to work. We'll get this piece right here. There we go. I finally figured it out. We'll use these two right here. Okay. So I finally got two mirrored images. Let me pick this up. I'm going to try to, let me see. If I use this side, yeah, that'll be, I always like to get the best most out of my clay and every piece is supplied. So I'm going to position this here. And I want, if you're not sure, just kind of like lay that on there so you can kind of get a good look at what is going to be captured in your video, on your cutter. And I just kind of burnish it in a little bit. Don't press too hard. You don't want to distort your clay or thin it out anymore. But it doesn't take much, just to make sure it doesn't move, okay? And that you don't have any air pockets. And you don't have to do this. Okay, so there's one. Then we're going to do this one right here. Okay, now I have used, some people use non-acetone nail polish remover. And then what I have found, and I've used alcohol, which works, but I use some gel hand sanitizer, and it's a little thicker and it works. This is how I got the best results. So if you have some gel hand sanitizer, could be any brand, I don't know if it matters, but this one has, where did I see it? I saw the total ingredient was somewhere here. Where was that? This is your ingredient right there, okay? 70% alcohol, ethyl alcohol. Does that sound right? Okay. So you can use whatever you want, a cotton round, whatever. I'm going to use my fingers and just put this on here. And you just want to get it so it soaks through all the paper and transfers that ink. Now I can tell that this paper is leaching pink, so these earrings will be pink in most cases. So that is something that I didn't know would happen on this particular one. Okay, so we're going to finish this one up, and that's, some of these papers are like that. The inks will separate. It's kind of like a watercolor. One of those kids' watercolor papers when you're little and you use, they already had the dots with the ink in it on that paper, and you just use a little wet paintbrush and activate those colors. That's kind of what this feels and looks like is happening. So I just want to get that all saturated, and you can see right there on the rest of the ink, but we can clean that up. I have a baby wipe here somewhere, all the times, because I might want to do something more there. So anyway, we'll let that sit there and dry. Well, we could cut these out too. I think you can cut them out. Now you're going to have to press a little bit harder than you normally would because you're cutting through paper. And I say you go from one side to the other because it will, like, the pressure will pull the paper apart. And then lift up. And that way it doesn't end up pulling the paper. So you kind of just go around. That's why it's kind of easier to use these straight edge. And this will be a little bit more difficult to keep it from ripping. But you do that. And you can see it ripped a little bit on the side. You can tap that down a little bit. It's not going to be too bad. I always think it gives it a little bit of character. And then here, there's like a little bubble there. So I'm going to push that down a little bit more and push it out. And we're going to start from one side here. See how it pulls that paper? And then it will lift up, and hopefully you can work that. There is a bubble under there, so I am going to push that out. But now that the paper is cut, hopefully, and that one came out a lot better. We'll have to push that bubble out when we lift up this. So this is like this is the tricky part, because some of the paper is not 100% separated from the cutter. So you want to get your sharp edge here and just make sure that paper gets cut so it doesn't pull off of your earring piece. Oops, I just kind of blew that without having any problems. You just push that down. Okay. So I think the next set will show you where you cut out your piece first and then you lay the paper on. So you can see the different ways and figure out what's going to work the best for you. And we'll be sanding the edges. And we might actually try to take the paper off of this one just to see. It might actually look pretty cool, but we'll see what happens. It will really shine up when you put that resin on. Okay, we're gonna let that just sit there while we go and work on some of the other ones. Okay. Okay. Now I want to try and show you this one. Let's see here. I'm anxious to see if this gold is going to do anything. So is it even on the whole paper? I don't know. So sometimes these patterns are not on the whole paper. So the gold piece is only on that front piece, that front square. So that's the square I'm going to use. And we're going to cut that out and then we'll separate it. That was easy to separate. Okay, this is one where I might wash off the paper. We'll see what's going to happen here. Now, which ones am I going to use? Would I try this one? No. Okay, so let's do this. We're going to do this one over here. We're going to cut out our earring piece first. You know, yeah, we're going to do that first. Okay. Pull this away. You can see I did it pretty thick. I don't know what size, you guys. I just go with what I feel works. Okay. So So there's our 2 earring pieces. Now I was kind of thinking like at a slant like that and try to get as many on there. So let's see here. Because I'm going at a slant, I think I'm going to cut it at a slant. I'm trying to think if I just want to do just the white with this, because they're a lot further apart than they look. So what if we did this? I'm just cutting around the actual gold stripe piece. Since they're really skinny, I don't know. This may not work out that great. We'll see. And in this case, I probably would take the paper off. I mean, it's a lot of work just for this little thing, but you could just lay foil. But I'm going to wash this one off and we're going to see if that really worked for this one. And I'll just put these on here like paper mache almost. I'm just going to paper mache all that on there. Okay. I love that gold on there. Use a little bit of the hand sanitizer, see if it transfers. So what's cool is this is not bleeding out the coloring. I don't know if the foil is going to do anything different. I'm going to let that dry and then we'll bake that in the oven. The back looks silver, isn't that funny? So I do want to get the gold effect, so I will have to show you, which is kind of good that I'll get to show you how to do that. Okay. And get that one. I feel like I'm doing steri strips on some kind of injury. I'm going to try to get the same width going. Okay, get these. Got to cut some more. You can see it's already transferring when I lifted that up. Sometimes you can see that happening so fast. So it just depends, I guess, on the paper and the way the ink is in that paper. I think I want another little strip right at the bottom there. Just for the corner. Okay, so now we're going to douse that in a little gel, hand sanitizer. Scoot that up there. And like I said, I don't know if this one's going to work, but we're going to experiment because that's what I do. It's funny because it looks like the gold is coming through on that. Oops, my paper came off. You guys probably saw that before I did. Okay, so that's all soaked. So we'll let that one sit aside. Now, let's see. I have these square ones I think I want to use. I've not used them yet. I always have trouble opening these cases. Shouldn't that just pop open? Am I opening it from the wrong end? No. I think it should just pop open, right? There we go. It's never been open, so. Is there tape on there? Well, there you go. There's tape on there. Good Lord. Okay, so I have all different sizes here, and I think these will be, so this kind of just gives me like a boho shape size, and this all, so many different ways to do this. I'm thinking triangle like that. And so I am gonna cut, I like that size the best. I'm gonna do a couple like that. We'll do the button post. Oops, I should have put this in a little bit of cornstarch. So if you have ones that are new, usually dipping it a little bit into cornstarch works, but you also want to make sure you brush it away before you bake it. It's really hard to get off. And then wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Okay, that wasn't too bad. And we'll do this right here. Oh, I wanted to show you this too. You can reuse your clay. You just pull off the paper. Now that it's dry, it'll come right off. See, it did bleed a little bit of pink. I can see some of the images not even baked in there, but of course this will become a pink kind of toned cream color clay now. So we'll put that aside, throw this away, lift this up, and that's another way to save your clay without putting the paper on it, okay? You can do that. Now, let's decorate this. What are we going to use? Well, I love the florals. I do love florals. What I would like to, oh, this is summertime though. I'm wondering if they're going to bleed though. This one looks a lot more solid in color, and this one did come out good when I did it. So I think I'm going to work with these two. I like the big floral. So let's do that one. It's so hard to decide, and once you get it down, and practice is what helps you get better at this stuff. That's what's helping me at least. I'm gonna really, the more you do, it's unlimited based on the napkins. You know, transfer papers are out there, and the water soluble papers work well too, and that's awesome. But if you have these pretty napkins, I mean, wouldn't it be great to be able to use them this way? So I always keep seeing these really pretty napkins. Okay. So a lot of the napkins nowadays, it's just the front facing square has most of the pattern. And then you can see this one has accents. Whoops, I just ripped that. It has accents on the other quarters of this paper. And let me just do that. Okay. So I like this big, I think I'll use this big print area for the big square. And I just kind of cut it down here so that we can see. Maybe I can get a corner. No, that's not gonna work. Okay, so I love the orange. I don't know what my craze is with that lately. Love these colors all together. And we're just gonna, if you're not sure, just like kind of try to hold this over, hold your cutter over the paper to see what area you want to cut into. Love capturing like the sunflower look there. Okay, we're gonna do that one. And then I think we'll do this one over here, the blue. And the tulips. Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. section right here. And then we'll save this one for later. That can use that. And I've held up my cutter here. I already cut out the pieces to the section I want to show on the earring, and I'm thinking that section right there with the orange to help tie in this sunflower look with that orange, and kind of gives you a good look to how this is going to flow. I love that kind of off-centered look. Okay, so this one I decided it's going to be a little bit of that with that, right? Yeah, maybe off-centered there. Okay, so this is, so what you want to do is find your landing here. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's where I'm going to go with it. Now, because these are so close together, I don't want anything to bleed over onto the other one when I put the gel on it. Okay. Okay, we're going to put that one down. And you can see, well, I should have pressed it more onto the paper so it wouldn't move. I mean, onto the, good Lord, it's moving because I didn't burnish it into the clay first. But we're okay. It's going to be okay, everybody. Let that sit. And then your hands stay clean the whole time you're working this. The whole time, everybody. Cut this down a little bit. And so this is the section I really want to get on there. Yep, just like that. Okay, so we're going to push that into the clay. And you want to wait for these to completely dry before you pop them in the oven. Okay, got that. Now, I have these little pieces here, the orange and the blue and the pink. And I think we'll be able to do this like this. Get a little bit of the yellow in there. See how it moves when I didn't burnish it? Yeah, I keep forgetting that part. Okay, there's that. I was going to show you how to do the textured one. So what I'm going to do is pop these into the oven, and then we will come right back. I'll have another slab of clay, and I will show you how to do that. So once these dry, I'll pop them in. That's what I should say. Once those dry. Okay, so I'm gonna do this one again, and I have this strip cut out because I like the edging there. I've already rolled out my clay, and I'm pressing in my images. I thought about maybe not doing that first, but I decided I'm going to. Okay, so, and there's little pieces in there, whatever, but we are gonna work with that because it doesn't matter since this is going to get covered up. Wow, that hasn't happened in a while. And then we'll do another one over here. Yep. I think I needed a little extra. I'm not going to go with that. That's better. There we go. Then we're going to pull this up. There'll be a little bit of sanding and cleanup after this. But I also have found like just working it with this little silicone tip kind of helps. But I always sand a little bit on the edge. Be nice one day not to have to do that. Oops, I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so I'm gonna just make sure all my edges are down. Then here we're going to, and you're gonna leave your cutter out because you're gonna need it to kind of help emboss it a little extra. I think I'm gonna cut it right down the middle. And I'm gonna, this is the top part, okay. So see how it's scalloped goes down? So I'm gonna put that like right there, okay. Put it on there, nice. You can leave these blank if you want, or add like some gold to that. But remember, this is going to come out green because the way they have the ink in this paper. So it doesn't like show green. Okay, we're going to do this here. Just saturate that paper. Now I wonder if, okay, we'll do that there. Just kind of float all over. So you can see it's already green. It's not really gold. I'm spilling this everywhere. I do kind of come around here just because I want the embossed kind of to puff up. And so you line it up really carefully. You don't have to do this step at all. And I'm not going to press it all the way down. I just want it to press that paper in a little bit more. Okay. Now, I'm going to kind of make that nicer. Put that there. Okay. So see how it has these pieces right here? I think I'm going to try to put that into there. Seems like it's the right size. They're all just a little different too. Make sure you're putting the print down. And I don't know if this is going to matter here. Yeah, I'm not going to press. I'm not going to try my luck. Okay, so we'll wait for that to dry and then we'll pop everything in the oven and I'll be back. Now, while it's in the oven, I just want you to know, you want to watch it. I have learned that I don't want to bake this as long as I do all my other pieces because there's paper on it and I have found that it scorches it. You could put a foil tent over it. I guess that would help. I'm not sure, but it just doesn't seem to like 1 hour, which is what I normally bake things at. It could be that it's the white, I don't know, but a little less than an hour, maybe 45 minutes would be the best. Now you want to keep checking your oven. I have it in a little toaster oven with a thermostat or a thermometer for the oven in there so I can keep an eye on the temp. And I bake approximately 275 and for about 45 minutes, and we'll have a look at this when it comes out. Okay, so they've come out of the oven and looks like it did. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so they came out. These two pieces right here, this one I took the paper off. I didn't even soak it, it just like peeled off. This one will probably soak off. And I was able to just go like this. Ooh, look at that. So I am going to remove the paper. It kind of gives like a watercolor look. Wow, it did transfer. Okay. But it, like I said, it's like a watercolor look there. And it will brighten up when we put a resin. Now this one's not going to be as bright, maybe. Yeah, it's very light. I don't know, you guys. I don't know if I like that. This one, I don't know. So should we leave it on or soak it off and see? These I did not peel off before. I just pulled the edges up to get the edges off. Let's see, is it gonna, yeah, I'm not gonna peel, I'm gonna leave that paper on because I do like this design and the way it looks. Let's see here. Where's my other tool? Right there. I think what we'll do is this will just come off like that. Okay, so just for instance, I took the paper off of this one, and this one does not have the paper off of it. Now this did, it is easy to get it off, so I'm gonna just match them up and rub it while it's in the water here. You can see it coming off. Hopefully you can see that. And so this will have a totally different look to it than the other one, even after I put the resin on it. Got to really rub hard to get it off. Okay, so I washed those off. I'm going to let them dry a little bit more and then we'll resin those and finish those up. We have these still here, so we'll just put that in there. Get the water to dissolve off of it. So it doesn't look, so when you do it, it looks like, oh, it's taking it off, but there's still paper on there. It kind of looks like a henna tattoo with this particular paper, the way it will look after it comes off. And you can just see the darker areas here, plus when I sand that edge. So there we have that one go. That one actually doesn't look too bad. See, that's the green that I got because I left the paper on the last one and just sealed it in there. But that's okay. We're gonna see. I think some of them will turn out brighter. Oh, I didn't cook those. Oh, I made these. I'm meant to put those back in the oven. While those were cooking, and I didn't record because it was just the same cut like this, and I just used the other flour napkin, but I do want to put those in the oven. Have those cooking. Cute, huh? Yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I don't even know if I can peel some of this off. That's gold underneath there. And it looks silver. Well, okay. Kind of scorched it. Wow. So that paper came off really easy. I didn't even have to soak it. I gotta clean my Band-Aid off. That's weird. Look at that. That's actually kind of cool. Not cool that I had to, let me do this. Not cool that it scorched the clay, but that is really on there too. That really transferred. So that's good to know that the foiled papers will transfer, but it's not gold. It's silver, everybody. It's silver. And that just came right off really easily. And you can see the gold on that side. This one we might have to soak. So I think next time I might do something different with some foiled papers and see what happens. But I'm not going to finish those because that'll be waste, but they are scorched. I would never wear them or do anything else, but it's a good experiment to see that those foiled papers work. Okay, now this one, I don't want to take the paper off because I think that one is going to be just fine, and we're going to just seal that. Okay, so let me move this out of the way and clean up a little. Okay, these have come out of the oven, and we're going to do that. So I'm going to hang, these are out of the resin UV light. I put UV resin on it. I put one thin coat on, then I do sand it again to get all it really as smooth as possible, and then I put a second coat on and UV it, and it comes out so shiny and glossy when I do it that way. So I'm just going to make a few dangling bits to it because I think that will make it look really cute. And if flamingos are not cute, I don't know what is. Now, I recently saw a friend who I knew a long time ago. She was on Facebook and she got a tattoo with a flamingo, and I didn't know it, but she gave the reasoning why she chose the flamingo, and I thought it was really a kind of a cool story. I did not know. So flamingos, the mother flamingos or female flamingos lose their color when they're raising their young. They turn white. And once their young are able to go out and fend for themselves and take care of themselves, the mother starts to get her color back and turn pink again. Now, I didn't research that. I don't know if that's true, but I love the story and it sounds true, sounds appropriate, and I love the flamingo tattoo that she got. Okay, so we have one more or a couple more here. I'm doing pink here and then green. These are pearlescent glass seed beads, and I bought them like, I don't know, every color you can imagine in a pack from Temu. I got like 5,000 seed beads. It's gonna last me a lifetime, but they come in these packs like this, really thin. Every color is coordinated like this. And I have like 3 packs of that came together, all different colors. So let's see, I have another one here. And so I was able to pick out exactly the colors. So you can see it's kind of a flamingo pink. I had gone straight to the pink pack and that was not going to be accurate. And then this is like a pearlescent green color with that. So I thought that was a cute combo. Very cute. In fact, that might be my next combo of earrings that I try to make. And I say try because today was not 100% success. I have decided from now on, if I use any more napkins, they will be 100% left on. I have the other ones curing right now. The ties are not, the ones that look like a tie with the gold stripe that ended up looking silver. That was a total fail. I threw that away. I probably should keep those little pieces. You never know. I might make a mosaic someday. And then the other ones that I tried to replicate that I had made prior to today, those were a fail because I peeled off the paper, and these were much better with the paper left on. And let me know if you agree. This little left the paper on, and I'm going to show you other ones at the end. So let's just do some drilling here. So I'm going to do one to hang the top from the top here. Okay, so this one I'm going to hang 3 dangling. So first of all, I want to center it, and I want to make sure I get it high enough. And then I center the last section. There we go. That looks pretty good for eyeballing it. You can measure it. These are going to be a surprise gift for a friend of mine. She's actually a content creator too. And I wanted her, she'd recently sent me something, so I wanted to thank her. I don't think she watches this channel, so I think it will be a surprise. We'll see, I hope. Gotta find the hole to go all the way through. There we go. That one might not be exactly right. But that tool really helps me Yeah, it's off a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be a big to-do. Okay. Now, and we'll have to wash those up. Where's my other? I love these needle nose, the bent ones. I love those. And then I use these. So with jump rings, hopefully this one will fit. I did make those holes in pretty far into, yeah, I think I'm going to need the bigger ones. Maybe not. I try to go with as smallest jump ring as possible because I think it looks better, but some things you want a larger one. And because I didn't go, yeah, that's going to work. Oh, that's going to look super cute, I think. I think it does. But because I put the holes in deep, I didn't want it to, you know, break off, especially since this is a gift. I don't want it to break off. But with jump rings, you always go front to back. You don't pull it apart. Okay, so I did not have to change out. I did use the same jump ring, and it looks cute, I think. And there we go. There they are in their glory. So those came out cute. I'll have to put some rubber backs to it to hold it, but those are going to get sent out. And so let me get the other. Okay, so this is what we did. These I did before. Did I put backs on them? I did. Okay. But this is how I'm hanging these, and I thought they came out really cute. And they're on the like a boho look with a little glam. And I still like these, my faves. But like I said earlier, I'm going to leave the paper on. These actually all have paper on. These did not. I pulled the paper off, and that was like the watercolor image from the flower, the large flower paper. These are going to be gifts, and I think they came out kind of cute. So let me know. I want to thank you all for watching this video. And if you have a favorite, let me know which one. And I'll see you next time. If you haven't hit the thumbs up on the way out, I invite you to do that now, as well as subscribe. That helps the channel, and it's totally free. So thank you for all your support, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.